Welcome to Swish Theory. My name is Chris Amundsen. We are back again for another edition of Swish Theory, Chicago Bulls style. I'm your co-host, along with my better half, Larro Golden. Larro, we just watched a thrilling victory versus the 76ers at the Bulls. Just impressive stuff. And it continues to stretch without Zach LaVine, that the Bulls are now 6-3. And they are the best clutch shooting team in the league right now. There's just some funny stuff going on with this team. It's just a weird team, a weird team. But we'll get into that in a second. How are you doing? How's your week been? What's been going on with you? You ready for the holidays here?
Yeah, man. Holidays, they're coming right up, and I believe we're ready. You just got to take care of some wrapping gifts and things like that. Took the kids to see the lights and things like that. So, but there's another place we got to go that they like to go to before the big day comes. But outside of that, same old stuff, man. It's just actually the Bulls are playing some better basketball. So it's been fun to sit down and actually put my eyes on the TV and see what they're doing. How about you, man?
It's been really fun. Yeah, I've really enjoyed watching the Bulls. Every game has been competitive over the last 9-10 games. It's been just a refreshing change, even though Alex Caruso has been kind of in and out of the lineup. Torrey Craig is out of the lineup. He went out with that foot injury. And I don't know, man. It's been the Coby White show. It's been the Patrick Williams improvement show. It's been Dalen Terry's getting minutes, doing some things. Julian Phillips has been doing the things in his limited minutes. And Io, I know he had like the Tony Snell stat line a few games ago, but then he came back and had like a 20-point game. Like they had 4 Bulls in 20 points or more. Like there's just some weird stuff going on with this team, but it's been really fun to watch. And I just think that it's been reinforcing what we've been calling for, which is, hey, let's invest in your young guys and put the right mentors around them. And the Bulls are in meaningful games right now. And like Coby and Pat tonight in the fourth quarter, putting up some big shots, some big plays, and came out with a victory against the 76ers, who up until tonight, I'm not sure what it will do to it, but they have like one of the largest point differentials in NBA history to this point in the season. And I mean, if you watch Joel Embiid, he's just been an absolute monster. And he was a monster tonight. He had 40 points and like 13 boards or whatever for like the 5th or 6th straight game or something. Like he's just been on a tear. But no, the Bulls were really, really fun to watch. And I know you wanted to get into this. We were talking a little bit about it, but it's fun. I know we talked about the young guys, and we'll talk about them again today. But it's been fun to see DeMar and Vucevic's roles changing a little bit, and kind of how they've responded and how they've been able to adapt their games a little bit to fit the young guys and what they're doing. And the ball has just been popping. And so we can start with DeMar. I know you had some stuff on DeMar that was pretty impressive, and to see what he's been doing since Zach started being out of the games here.
Yeah. So I mean, the cool thing is coming into the year, I really didn't think that Zach and DeMar would be open to changing their style of play in terms of the shot diet that was the hot topic of the offseason. And at the beginning of the year, it didn't change. They tried to change it, but things weren't going as well as they are right now. And I felt like it basically pushed Zach and DeMar into being what they usually are, as ISO guys, getting into their shots, and the offense was stagnant. But when Zach LaVine went out with his foot injury, I wondered, okay, what is this going to look like? And like you said, like watching these games, it has been fun, and it's really easy to cling, attach to Coby's success and seeing Pat, improve and showing some more consistent aggressiveness. But I think the thing that can get lost is the things that DeMar is doing in order to help this team, uh, compete every night. And I was going through some numbers, and I think when you watch the game, if you're being honest with yourself, you're seeing a change. You're seeing him put up more threes. You're seeing him more willing to cut. You're seeing him, just spotting up more and allowing Coby to be able to handle the ball more. And when you look at some of his numbers, if you look, just take a look at like the Bulls since he became a Bull. According, from Synergy, his three top play types, which they're all the same throughout his tenure here, but his first year as a Chicago Bull, 41% of the time he was used in pick and roll. Second, 16% of the time he was an ISO guy, and then just behind that as a spot up shooter, 12% of the time he was used. Same thing, the next year, 41% pick and roll. Now, looking at the numbers from this season, this is the telltale thing to me, and I think it really does articulate, I should say, the way he has been playing. And pick and roll is down to 32%. He's spotting up at 20% now, and ISO is down to 13%. And I think you're seeing it with his assist to turnover ratio, with having 137 assists to, I believe, only 37 turnovers. You're seeing it in his effort on the defensive side of the ball, being second in stock numbers, right behind Patrick Williams with 50. I just really want to commend him. I really want, because I think he deserves flowers for the way he's really playing basketball right now, in order to help these young guys get brought along better, but also to help this team overall just compete. So that's really what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to bring up, I should say, is that, DeMar has just been, he's just been really good. He's still the guy you can go to at the end of the game in crunch time to get buckets. But you can tell, even if you watch today against Philly at the beginning of the game, there were plenty of times he could have got right into his elbow spot and did the pump fake thing, got to his shot, or got to the mid post area and did his thing. But you're seeing him being handoff guy and in Chicago action. You're seeing him space the floor in the corner. You're seeing him give a concerted effort to get the young guys involved. He's really doing what a great vet does. And so shout out to DeMar, man. That's what I had to say, man. I had to say that after looking at some of these things.
He's been really, he's been changing. He's seems to fit with these guys. And one of the things that DeMar does, and so that there's really no one on the team that can do it, is he can really be your floor general in a lot of ways. I think Coby's coming along, but DeMar is just so steady in that way. For example, he is at a career low right now in turnover percentage. He's at 9.7% for his career this season, and he's never been below 9 in any season. This season, he's at 6.4% turnover rate. And then he's also been really fun on the defensive end. So him and Coby are like the charge masters. They've been taking a bunch of charges this year. But DeMar has also been really good at blocks. He's actually at a career high in block rate at 2.4%. His career average is 0.8. So he's like tripling that average right now. And in addition to the things you mentioned, I think he and Vooch have been cogs in the machine rather than the machine, and they really fit well. And one of the things I wanted to bring up, I was looking on cleaning the glass, and you go to the team efficiency and 4 factors, the differential. So guess which 3 Bulls are leading the team differential in points scored versus points allowed? You got to guess.
I'll say Patrick
Williams. He's number one.
Coby White.
Coby White's number 2.
And DeMar DeRozan.
No. Another young guy.
Question. I thought it was
I know. Ayo Dosunmu. Ayo Dosunmu is the third guy. So the Bulls have played their best basketball with Patrick Williams on the floor. He's at a plus 16.8 differential. Coby White is plus 13.9, and then Ayo is a distant third. He's at plus 5.8. Those three and Javon Carter at 0.9 plus 0.9 are the only Bulls in the positives. So it really has been the Pat and Coby show, and Ayo's been doing, he's been sprinkling in some things there. But we really are witnessing the growth of Pat and Coby, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Vuce and DeMar are helping them, mentoring them, and being cogs in the wheel, like cogs in that machine that are allowing them to, take advantage of more opportunities. You saw a couple times tonight where the drive and kick game is really good. Coby would drive. It was late in the game. He drove it, kicked it to like a rolling Vuce, and then Vuce turns, hits Pat in that right corner, boom, splash. And you saw it again later in the game when it was Pat when he hit those back-to-back ones. Coby, I think, was curling around the left side towards the rim, gets up in the air, turns, Pat's right there on the right wing, and splash again. So, those were key moments in the game. And then I remember Coby defending Joel Embiid on the last play. If you saw that, that was fun. He was vertical right in front of the charge circle, just went up vertical, and Embiid went and hit it off the top of the glass. It was just, the shot was too hard. And it's just been really fun to watch these guys just become really solid players. I mean, Coby White in his last 5 games has averaged 22 points, 26, 27, 33, 24. And his efficiency, for the season, he's almost at 57% effective field goal percentage. He's shooting 42.6% on threes. He's shooting almost 8 of them a game. Like he's just been on a tear. And I think we talked about this. I can't remember, Larro, but I can't remember if it was our podcast or someone else's podcast that I was a guest on. We talked about who would improve the most this season, and my answer was, I think Coby White improved a lot last season, but it went under the radar. And I think this season he's really going to demonstrate all the things that he's improved on. And I think we've seen that, especially since Zach has been out, that Coby White, the all-around game that he has been working on and improving on, and especially I think it showed out the second half of last year. He's kind of put it all together this season in Zach's absence to really become an all-star caliber player. I mean, he's putting up all-star caliber numbers this season, and the team has been really competitive with him on the floor. And I think with him and Pat, you got the Carolina boys, and they work really well together. And we're seeing a new aggressiveness from Pat, and it's more consistent. He's more confident. He's not as deterred by missed shots. I mean, tonight in the 76ers, like he couldn't put the ball in the basket from 2-point range for the first half of the game. And he kept being aggressive, kept going in. He got the reverse dunk early in the game and just kept playing, kept shooting. He had a really nice block between those 2 threes that he hit late. He had a really nice block. And just, these 2 guys have been making winning plays, and it's been really fun to see. So I know we've waxed poetic about Coby the last couple weeks, but any new wrinkles that you're seeing in Coby's game, or anything you want to say on Coby's behalf?
Well, I know that we've talked when we've talked about Coby before. One of the things that I've brought up is early in his career, I don't think he used his speed as a weapon. Like it was always just north south, and that play where he got the dunk, that was a perfect display of what we call change of pace. right? Where he's coming up the floor, he's not walking, but he's like more of like a jog. And then once he sees that sliver of space or that opening to attack, boom, there goes that speed that he has, that first quick explosive step that he has in him, and ends up getting a dunk. And like those are the things that I'm looking at. Like we all know he could put the ball in the bucket. Like we've seen it. But like I've been looking for like the nuance in his game, the stuff that is going to help him continue to keep, this production up. And I think that things like that would just using his ball handling ability and his improved ball handling ability is now allowing him to use his speed different ways, to change gears. When he first got in the league, it was tough to handle the ball, so he couldn't really change gears like he wanted to. Now you're seeing it. The leadership, man, is the one thing that continues to pop off the screen for me. Even like in the post game, he's not even talking about himself. He's talking about, man, Vooch was huge tonight. He played, shouting Vooch out, and then talking about Patrick Williams and talking about Io. Like that when you like that speaks volumes to me. Like you're a guy that has been working his tail off to get to this point, and you're still not a me guy. You're still not, saying, oh man, I did this, I did that. You're like, I'm finally here, but I'm a team first guy. These are my guys. And so it's really cool to see him do that. But yeah, man, I mean, what about you? You got anything else about him?
I think the last thing for Coby is Mark Caranzolis, our friend that we had on a couple weeks ago. He talked about on Twitter about Coby's leap in playmaking and how he didn't expect that. And I was curious. I think I had texted you, and I was like, I'm not 100% sure if it's a leap in playmaking. But I think it's more about Coby's ball control has improved so much that he's able to accelerate and decelerate so much better that he can hit guys. Because I remember early on in his career, especially his second year, when he was a starting point guard. I think it was the second year, right? Maybe it was, yeah. And he had 2 games early on in the season. I think it was against the Kings and against the Trailblazers, where you could really see the precision passing and see the flashes. And I think Coby has always had good decision making. So I don't think he's ever been like a high turnover guy. I know his assist to turnover rate for his career is more than 2-1, and it's always kind of been that way. He's always been pretty good with the ball. I know his second year, his turnovers were up, but his assists were also basically almost double that. So I think with Coby, it really was the improvement in his handling and his footwork that allowed him to take advantage. I think he's had the vision. Now he's not going to be a genius level passer. He's never going to be that. But I think he's always been a good passer, like a quality passer. He doesn't make a lot of silly reads. Like he's usually like, I don't think that it was a processing problem for him. I think it was more of a not being able to get to the spots and manipulate the defenses in the way that was going to maximize the openings that he saw. Right, those openings weren't there as much because of his own lack of ball handling, his own lack of creation of his own shot. So I think that was kind of more my point. Is I'm not sure if it's necessarily a leap in processing, but rather a leap in his own ball control that's allowed him to take advantage of the processing that was already there. Now, I would say, players tend to just get better naturally over time at that stuff. So I'm not saying he hasn't improved there in his process, and he clearly has, and he clearly has. He's done some passes this year that I haven't seen him do before.
Yeah.
Like he's gotten to another level for sure. And I think he's gotten better at that every year. But you really see it. You really see it in the ball handling and how that's affected and kind of opened up everything else as far as his playmaking is concerned. And with the leadership quality, I think that's probably the biggest change with Zach being out is watching Coby kind of take the reins of leadership and he's always been, him and Zach are both really hard workers. They believe in themselves a lot. But I think you mentioned that Coby's desire to shout out his teammates. We saw him in a huddle taking charge and like pointing out things in the play. And just the way Billy Donovan talks about him as well. Like Billy really believes in him and his ability to be great and his ability to just constantly be working. His work ethic has never really been questioned in that way. And so I think Coby's just got the right heart to be kind of a soul of the team. And I think they're following. I think they're following in the example that Coby's setting for them. So it's been really, really wonderful to see. We can talk a little bit about Pat as well. Have you seen anything different this week? So this week we faced as if I'm on the court. The Bulls have faced the Bucks, the Nuggets, the Heat twice, and then the Sixers tonight. So these are all quality opponents. They went 2-3, and one of them, the Bucks, they took to overtime, and then the Heat, one of the Heat games, they lost at the buzzer. So very, very competitive games. I think the least competitive was the Nuggets game. But I think Pat and Coby have both played really key roles down the stretch in all 5 of these games. And so I'm curious what you've seen from Patrick that you want to discuss tonight.
Well, I think with Pat, we've said it, right? Where the defense has been there, right? The defense has been there. Well, I don't think we've had any problems with the defense. I think we also talked about it. Our most previous episode was, the shooting, and it wasn't consistent yet. And we kind of we understood that like it's going to regress to the mean. Like he is shown in NBA that he is a good 3-point shooter. And now I believe that his 3-point percentage is now back up to 39% now. And so he's working that thing back up, that percentage back up. And not only is the shooting falling now, but now you're starting to see him like tonight. He had at one point, he only had 2 3-point attempts, but he had 11 shot attempts. So what that tells me is like he's not just spotting up anymore. He's not looking just for the skip pass or being one pass away or waiting for the pick and roll so he can be ready for the skip pass to the corner if the low man comes over. Like no, now he's cutting more. He's moving through the paint now. He's running the lanes and transition harder than he has been before. And I just think that we've talked about it, man. Like I don't want to keep saying this like we're the end all be all or anything like that. But like we've been saying this, like with Zach out, there's been more opportunity. There's been more room for him to step up and do other things. And I think you are seeing him understand and figure out what he has to do to be more successful on the offensive side of the ball. He's had that success of, okay, man, I just got to the lane. I just dunked that thing like that. Wait, I could have been doing this. Like it sounds crazy, but like when you're going against NBA athletes, and you start to finally see some success, that confidence starts to grow. And now you start to get that, now you're okay. Let me cut on this 45 cut. Let me run this lane a little bit harder. I just feel like you're starting to see him understand what he has to do in order to make an impact on the team. And I don't know, man. Like I don't want to keep, saying what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, the more you play, if you have the skill set, if you have some intriguing skills, the more you play, the more you understand how to use those skills, and that's how you decipher as a GM, as a front office, as a head coach, as assistant coaches. The more you give opportunity to a player, the more you're going to understand the player himself as well. Like, okay, maybe I'm not the guy that I thought I was. Maybe I am just that, spot up guy. Maybe I am just a 3-and-D wing and just sit there. And the same thing for the head coach, like Billy's probably seeing some stuff like his press conference coming out. Like, man, we need that type of Pat all the time. We need that aggressiveness. We need him to keep that aggressiveness. And I think that Miami Heat game was huge for him because it wasn't, to me, I don't know about you, Chris, you can give me your feedback after this, but to me, that Miami Heat game was like not something that was like oh man, just hot shooting. Like I felt like that was what you could hopefully in the future, near future, is something that you can expect more of him is, attacking off the bounds, getting to his spots, getting into the paint, drawing fouls, getting to the free throw line, and hitting his three balls when he has them. How do you feel about that though? That Miami Heat performance?
No, I mean, it was in many ways the best performance that he's had in his career. I mean, I know he had 2 20-point games in the playoffs against the Bucks, which everyone forgets about, but and he had that 35-point game against the Timberwolves. But what I love about what Pat's been doing recently is I think he has been getting to the rim more, driving into the lane. He's not settling for the pull-up jumper as much. Looking at his shooting frequency, 35% of his shots are at the rim this season. So that's really good. That's up from those last year. And his mid-range attempts, like that long mid, he's down to 11% from, he's shooting 18-20% of his shots from the long mid, kind of outside of 14 feet. And then he's shooting 38% of his shots from three. And as you said, the accuracy is going back up. So he's up to 38% on his threes. Last year he was 41%, and he's a career 41% shooter. And the rim attempts are still down, but I think the aggressiveness is definitely there. He's not shooting a terrible percentage, but he clearly has more work to do. But I think he's been drawing fouls more, just getting to the rim more, being aggressive on the boards more. Now people make a big deal about his rebounding. He's a average rebounder. He's like 40 something percentile. So he's like, average is below average for his position. But you got to remember he's 6'7", playing power forward. If you look at, the other 6'7" forwards and their rebounding numbers, he's basically right in line with all the other guys. But I do think there's been a level of aggressiveness that's been higher the last several weeks, 3 weeks now, 4 weeks. That's really been refreshing to see. And I think that Miami game was really, really fun. Let me pull up his box score because I think we ended up losing this game on a Jimmy buzzer beater because, of course, but you just saw some things from Pat. He was 8 of 10 from the field, but he also had 4 assists. He had 7 rebounds. It was actually one of his first games with no blocks and steals. So in that way, he was kind of down. But I will say for the season, he's at 91st percentile in defensive efficiency on EPM, and he's 57th. I'm sorry, he's about average on offensive. So I know his offense still has a little bit a ways to go, but I do think it's getting more consistent. He's had a bunch more games between 10 and 20 points recently than he had to start the year, and I don't know what it is about it, because if you look at his career stats, it's still like 9.4 points, like it's all the same as it's been the 4 years, but there's just a difference in Patrick this year. And I think if he continues playing like this, the points per game and stuff is going to go up. But Ricky O'Donnell, our friend Ricky O'Donnell, posted this tonight that Pat is 22nd in the NBA in block rate at 3.7%. I know we've been touting that for a few weeks now, that his block percentage is at 90th percentile this year, and his steals percentile, steal rate. Sorry, English is hard for me. Is at 80th percentile. So just having a really, really effective year. And I think I tweeted this out last week. Patrick, at least as of last week, was the only Bull for the season, and not just in the stretch, for the season, that has a positive rating when he's on the floor. He's the only one on the whole team, not even Alex Caruso. And the Bulls are 10 points better per 100 possessions when he's on the floor. So He's just had a really good year, and I know people were like really, really hating on him earlier this year because he was having a cold shooting stretch, but he's been really, really consistent with his rebounding. I'm sorry, his rebounding, his defense. His rebounding is where it should be for a guy of his size, and the offense is really starting to come around with consistency. So I'm just happy with his progress. I'm happy with Kobe's progress, and what I want to see is more of the same. I want them to keep giving them more opportunity. I want Patrick and Coby to be taking more of the reins late game, and that actually brings it to a point of contention that some people have been mad that DeMar is doing stuff in the clutch versus Coby. But let's be real, the numbers show that DeMar is one of the best closers in the NBA and has been for years. Coby, where Coby excels in the clutch, is shooting. So what you really want Coby doing is to be a play finisher in those situations and let DeMar be the creator. Now, over time, you'd want that to even out a little bit. You want to give Coby more opportunities to do that. But right now, if the Bulls want to win games, Billy's put him in the positions that he should be in, that they should be in. So just wanted to give that little tidbit. But I'm having really a lot of trouble speaking today. I don't know what's going on with me. Maybe I'm just really tired, but so I apologize to all of our listeners.
Hey man,
I'm just having trouble with English today.
When you're tired, man, you know how it is, man. But to go along, right? I wanted to bring up so our guy Drew Stevens, who's a reporter for It's the Bigs.
Shout out, It's the Bigs.
Right? Shout out,
It's the stuff, Bigs. Man.
But he Patrick, this is the first time in Patrick's career where he had back-to-back games of three-pointers in a game. So that's something notable to me.
Needs to happen more.
Yeah.
You need to get 5 or 6 up a game.
Yeah, that's for sure. There was one other thing I wanted to bring up. Oh, for the Coby point that you brought up, the Coby and DeMar point, and I think a perfect example is how Billy used Coby and DeMar in that Heat series, the play-in game, where it was almost like how he likes to use Zach with DeMar, where he sets the go screen, pops out, or he'll put Coby one pass away from the pick and roll, so it's hard for nail help to leave and help on DeMar, because if you do, you're kicking into Coby, who's a hot shooter in the clutch. So that's kind of the stuff that you want to see with Coby. And like you said, as time goes on, hopefully he gets more comfortable in those situations to be the guy with the ball. And yeah, man, I mean, this team has been fun, man. I mean, gotta admit, I I remember being on the pod and saying, like, my glass is empty. I don't have anything to really, like, outside of Coby and Pat, like, to look forward to. And so it's really been cool to see, like, I'm not saying, this team is going to be a juggernaut or in the playoffs or anything like that. But what I am saying is I just want to, these guys have really, not that they care about my respect, but they really earned, my respect with how they could have, like, folded and say, what, this season's over, 1, 2, 3, Mexico. I can't remember the name, the quote. Cancun. Like, it could have been like, yo,
great
Cancun.
place, by the way.
You know what I mean? And so for them to fight and change, their whole play style a little bit once Zach got out of there, and compete against the 76ers, like, it's one thing if the Bulls were playing against cupcakes until, I shouldn't say it that way. They were playing against other, teams that aren't that good coming into that game, and the 76ers took them lightly. But, like, there is enough data to show into that game, like, okay, maybe we gotta make sure we put these guys away, so they don't get any confidence or anything like that. So, they competed, they beat the Bucks once, they competed against the Bucks the next time. They beat the Heat once. They competed against the Heat the next time. So there's, like, a whole bunch. There's some film showing that this team you actually got to get up and play against, because the way they're playing, they'll beat you like they did today. So I
Yeah.
think this is a legit win. And Caruso, oh, dude, we can't get out of the pod without
This
talking about
man.
Caruso, man.
This
I'm gonna let
man.
you talk about your guy, man. That guy he's something. He really is.
There's what can you say about Caruso? First of all, to the Sixers point. Okay, the Sixers they were crushing. Now they had a cupcake schedule. They played their last like 6 games were Wizards, Hawks, Wizards, Pistons, Hornets, and then Bulls. And they crushed the Hornets by 52, by 53 points their last game. And they crushed the Pistons by like 20 or 30 points. Like their margin of victory was insane through this 6-game stretch. So you're right. I mean, the Bulls came into Philly. They got down by double digits in the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game, and they could have folded. Like everyone expected it. Everyone expected the Sixers to just roll through them. And just the fact that the Bulls are competitive, they're tough outs. Like this is the type of team that we want to root for, is a team that's in it. And I know that sounds like, I know that's also what AK says, right? Like he just wants them to be competitive and add a few more W's, which is a ridiculous goal. But
Right.
for a fan, you want 2 things as a fan. You want a level of competitiveness on a nightly basis, and you want hope, right? You want hope that there's something in the future that you're reaching for. And the Bulls, up to this point, up to a certain point in the season, hadn't given us either. Like we were losing badly, and there was no reason to think that it was going to change or get better anytime soon, right? It's like we got Zach, we got DeMar, we got Vuce. They're running it back again. They're not going to trade Caruso. They're not going to do anything. The young guys are floundering. There's nothing to root for. But they've really come through, and they've given us a couple of things. Now the front office needs to go further. I know I'm getting really far away from this Alex Caruso point, but the front office needs to go further, and they need to make serious moves to build around these guys, to find a superstar, to give us real hope for the future. But they're playing a lot better, and Alex Caruso, he's just such a catalyst for energy and impact on defense. I think Alex Caruso has single-handedly improved the screen navigation of every single perimeter player on our team. I think he's undoubtedly, I mean, Io, Coby, Patrick, even Zach, they're all way better than they used to be at screen navigation. And just the anticipation that he has, he gets up for blocks, like he guards anybody on the floor. He's just, and you want to talk about some crazy stats, like his shooting this season is out of this world. I gotta find it. Alex Caruso, I gotta find the stat here because I just saw it and it was like he's 100th percentile. I think. Oh, he's 98th percentile in points per shot attempt at 137.1.
That's crazy.
That's a crazy rate. He's 137.1 per 100 possessions. That's insane. Kobe's at almost 120. He's at almost 120.
Dude.
So I mean, Kobe's gotten better. He's literally gotten better linearly every single year that he's played in the league. So no, Caruso is a wonderful player. He is a championship changing talent. Like any team that adds him to their squad is getting a game changer on the defensive end. And I think he's really shooting it this year with complete abandon. Like he's letting it fly. He's hitting game winners. He's just putting them up. And I've never seen Alex Caruso offensively so aggressive in what he does and letting it fly. And the defense is, as always, I mean, he's an all-world defender. And the Bulls have just a wonderful player on their hands. And if a team comes calling with a pricey offer, they have to do something about it. But it's really nice to have them on our team as long as we can.
I think tonight I was looking just tonight. Alex Caruso went on the floor tonight against the 76ers. He was a +31. The team was a +31. With him off the floor, Yeah, and with him off
For-
the floor, he was like it was like a -19. It's crazy. It's crazy the impact this guy has. But when you watch him, you can see it, like the communication aspect. Like he doesn't like as a basketball coach, like you love players like that. You like as much as like you listen to guys talk about when Rajon Rondo was their point guard or when Chris Paul was their point guard. Specifically, I believe it was Blake Griffin or I can't remember exactly who it was, but about Chris Paul, like they literally got tired of hearing his voice because he didn't stop talking. You know what I mean? And it's like you want players on the floor communicating at all times. You just the last thing you want is, especially defensively, if you got some type of schemes with Alex Cruz on the floor, like if everybody's on the same page, let's say for instance, like let's take Coach Tibbs for example. We all know that if it's a side pick and roll, you're gonna hear ice. Like that's what Tibbs does. You're gonna ice, right? And let's say, for instance, everybody was playing the scheme ice, and there was just one player that was thinking they were playing straight up, and he was the guy to let up the bucket, from the skip pass. Maybe he was not in the right position. Like those are the types of situations as a coach that you get frustrated at because it's like, man, we're not on a string, we're not communicating to make sure we're on the same wavelength. But if everybody let's say for instance, everybody misheard, and they should be playing ice, but they misheard and they were playing everything like regular, right, forcing the pick and roll in the middle and they still gave up a bucket. Those are the types of that's the type of bucket you can be a little bit more okay with because everybody was on the same page. They just misheard the call. So like, but those things happen more often. Like those things don't happen when everybody's on the same page, especially when you have Alex Caruso or you go back to Kevin Garnett, go back to Kenyon Martin. When you have a floor general on the floor on the defensive side of the ball, I'm just talking defense. Even when he's on the bench, you'll hear him, "Hey, screen's coming, Coby. Coby backside. There's gonna be a rip screen." Like you hear him on the bench, like he impacts the game with his voice, with his body. He's like you said, man. I mean, if the Lakers or Denver or I mean, any team that has aspirations to win a title that can actually win a title. If you were going to get an Alex Caruso, your odds are going to skyrocket. Like he's just that good of an impact player, on both ends. So um I can't I don't know. There's not much else I can say about Caruso, man. He's fun to watch. So I know some fans, right, like are like, no, don't trade Caruso. Like, what are we doing? Like, he's da, da, da. But like, I'm sorry, like it's one of those bittersweet things. Like you love him, but at the same time, like he's too valuable and he can bring back some things, help your future. You know, yeah, man. So I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough situation, but I love the way he plays the game, man. You gotta love the way he plays the
yeah.
game.
No, he's got a great effect on the team, and like I get it. I get fans not wanting to see him traded. I get it. I feel it too. Like it pulls at your heartstrings. I love the lineup that they've been closing with more recently, which is Coby, Alex Caruso, DeMar, Pat, and Vooch. Just think that blend, and I'm thinking of the future for Coby and Pat on this team. Like, what does the next great Bulls team look like if Coby and Pat are on it, and who would you put around them? And I think Caruso is such a great pair with Coby, such a great pair with Coby. But man, yeah, it's tough. I mean, Caruso's been one of my favorite players since he got here. You know that I was calling for the Bulls to sign him.
Yeah.
Um, and I was so excited when he got signed here. I just think that's one of the best contracts in the NBA, and I think it's been proven that way. But yeah, you just see what he does, and even Torrey Craig was on the bench calling out stuff
Yeah.
from the bench. this game. So no, the vibes are just way better. There's not a lot of analysis that needs to go into it
Yeah.
in that way. The
Yeah.
vibes are just way better. They're just playing better, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. And this is what you want as a fan. You want hope. You want competitiveness. And I also have to shout out Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
I just need to shout out Dre because and a lot of times I'm at work when the games are starting, and so like I'll like fall on like a ESPN Gamecast or something. Anytime he gets on the floor and I see, so and so misses a shot from whatever, I just expect to see Andre Drummond offensive rebound every single time. It's just so much fun, and the vibes, like the swagger, the fits that he brings to the games. Like I was so not enthused about him coming to the team because I just thought we need other things from a basketball standpoint. But outside of that, I just think he's been a wonderful presence on the team, and he's another one where I'm like, he deserves to go to a good spot. He deserves to win a championship or have a chance to compete because he's just been a joy to have here. And he's a good basketball player. I mean, he's the rebounding king of all time, or if not, he's in the conversation. And he just does funny stuff on the court. He's got a little Denzel Valentine to him sometimes.
Yeah,
that's true. Gets over his skis.
That is so true. Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
That's a great one. Yeah. Yep.
But he keeps it reined in, and his minutes are low. That he's just mostly just fun. Like he does like 3 really awesome things for every Denzel Valentine kind of thing he does. But sometimes those things work out too, and he's like dunking on people or throwing up some crazy hook shot or taking someone off the dribble. And his steal rate, I can't remember if his steal rate is still one of the highest on the teams. I think it is, but let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, he's 100th percentile still in steal rate for his position. 3.3% steal rate, which is just bonkers. Just a bonkers. He's just really fun to watch, so I just got to give him a shout out.
Man, I got a question for you, man. So we obviously can go a little bit more in detail maybe in a future pod, but given the way the team has been playing and understanding the type of guy this Arturas Karnisovas is, do you believe that this team will look any different in the future? In a trade deadline, we'll say.
It better look a lot different. I would say. I mean, I think Zach getting moved is a foregone conclusion. I know Casey Johnson just put in the story again that it potentially could be here after the trade deadline.
Yeah.
It's tough because Zach is really the piece that is kind of the domino to start it. And you really need to get decent value for him, and it's unclear if that's going to happen. Seems like there's still some teams that are interested, but not chomping at the bit to get him right now, and that may change before the deadline. Yeah. So let's check back in January 15th, and maybe closer to the deadline in early February. But I do think ultimately Zach will get moved. I think it's better for him. It's better for the team. I've really enjoyed watching him here. I think he's still just very underappreciated by almost everybody. But, there's some clear concerns there. Obviously, he's tired of the situation, and the team's been playing better without him so far this year, or this version of Zach LaVine, as we talked about. So I think he's going to get moved. I think it's not like I want DeMar and Vuce to get moved, but I think it might be in the best interest of the team to do so because I know DeMar wants a significant contract, and we got just a different direction for the team. So I think DeMar has been a great mentor. So I wouldn't mind if they kept him around in some respects, but I do think that there's value that you can get. That you need to take advantage of if that value is there. And I would say the same for Vuce. Vuce and DeMar have shown that they can play pretty decently together and that they can not be such a big inhibitor to the young guys. I think it was just all three of them just sucked the oxygen out of the room on the offensive end, and it just made it so hard for anyone else to really contribute. And we've seen with just the absence of one that it's opened up room for Coby and Pat and Io and these guys to kind of have a little bit more room to play through their mistakes. So, I think you got to move DeMar or Vuce if an opportunity is there to get assets or young players back. I think you got to do it.
Yeah.
But there's not the same kind of rush that I think we had at the beginning of the season. Now that Zach has kind of been chosen as the guy to be moved, I think it kind of creates some order. Things starting to fall into place after that. I do think Caruso has to be moved because I think he's going to probably garner the most value, and it's going to be the easiest type of contract to trade. So I think you have to trade Caruso. So will it look differently? Will AK do all those things? I don't know. I think Zach will get moved. I know there's some rumblings that Pat's future was uncertain. I hope that's been put to rest. It should never have been a conversation because that's just really, really silly based on where the Bulls are at. But I think Patrick is worth building around long term. Give him all $200 million, right? I'm just kidding. He never asked for $200 million. You guys are crazy. But I think he's shown that he's going to be, and we talked about this with Mark and with anyone we've talked to, he's going to be a really good player for a long time. I mean, he's going to have a 10-year plus career. Even if he just has the same skill sets as he does now, he's just a valuable player. So, and it's borne fruit on the court this year. So that's my really long-winded answer. I hope so. I think there will be some changes. I think for sure Zach, like if I had to put most likely to leave, I would put Zach at the top. I'd probably put Caruso next, followed by DeMar. I don't think they're going to move Vooch. I don't think they're going to move like Torrey Craig or Javon Carter or anybody like that. Maybe they move Dalen Terry if it's like a challenge type trade. But even then, I don't really see them moving on from that. I would love to see, like post deadline, I would love to see some more Julian Phillips at the 4 and Pat at the 3, if they end up moving DeMar or Zach. And I would love to see them like target a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein or Ivica Zubac or Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickly, like those types of guys who are kind of more defensive guards that can complement a Coby or a big that can do some fun things. Now, Zubac is not as versatile, but he's just a really good defender. And I think Hartenstein is more kind of like a Vooch in some ways offensively, like he can be more of a hub, but just a better aptitude defensively and a whole lot younger. So I just want them to retool or rebuild. They need to build their assets, but they can still be competitive. They can still develop the right habits and still probably end up where they need to be. So I don't know. Long-winded again, but this is, we should call this the long-winded podcast rather than the Swiss Theory podcast in some respects, but I hope so. Do you think that they're going to, like, what do you think they're going to do at the deadline? Do you agree with me?
It is, the logical answer would be what you said. Like, you would think, but I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. Part of me feels like what Will Gottlieb said from CSGO on the show about maybe AK is like, well, I mean, we've competed against the Bucks. We've competed against, we beat the 76ers. I don't know. Maybe we got what we need. Hopefully, I'm hopefully thinking. Hopefully, he does go into the trade deadline saying, "Hey, you know what? Thanks, fellas, but this is the route we got to go." Hey, Caruso, we're going to make sure we get you to a contender. Zach, we're going to try our best, but if we can't, hey, sorry.
I hope you like Detroit. I would feel legit so bad for Zach if he goes to another losing organization or a losing team. Like, I really want Zach to be put in a position where he can be a contributor on a winner. I know the Bulls are going to do what's best for the Bulls, but that would be really cool to see exactly the opportunity. But anyways, please continue.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, I I I would, if they make any moves, please bring in a young big that can, learn under Vooch or get some playing time and grow, because when Vooch is done, I mean, there's not a big in sight. I don't know, how much people believe in Aldama Sanago, but you need to start thinking about that, so yeah, man. So I'm hoping they go the route that you said. I really do. But I'm still like, I don't know. I don't know. They who knows? After tonight, I wish there was like a camera in the, or at least showing like a quick cameo of like, Acme. They were probably in the booth, in the in the suite, like fist bumping and shaking hands, like, yeah, we back, baby. Ah, I, you never know, man. You really, really never know. They're probably texting Lonzo like, hey, how you feeling? How you feeling? You ready yet? Or what's going on? So we haven't heard anything about that, by the way.
Not at all. I really, he's got 1 year after this one, I think, on his contract. I can't recall. I want to say it's one more year after this one,
He hasn't
but
even been on the bench, right? He usually sometimes you'll see him on like home games. You'll see him on the bench with the guys. So
yeah, I
I
haven't
don't
seen
know.
him.
Can you imagine? Like everything's going the way it does, and then you get a report. Lonzo Ball's doing he's progressed and he's in the gym and he's not feeling any more pain. Like what?
You know
What's
what'd be
going on?
sweet? Him and Kobe together. Like
Oh,
Lonzo is exactly the type of guy you want next to Kobe.
oh,
Exactly the type of guy. He can shoot, he can defend multiple positions. He's a he's a genius passer, and he's got the good vibes. Man. Yes, Alonzo, 20 million this year, and he's also on the books next year as well. He's got a player option, which I'm certain he'll pick up. But I would love to see like a trade deadline special of, hey, Lonzo Ball is working his way up on the court. It would just be a really heartwarming thing. And I think, man, I can't imagine other than Caruso, right? Like Lonzo would be perfect next to Kobe White. You have
yeah,
Lonzo, Kobe, Pat, Julian Phillips, and insert young big here. Now
yeah,
we're cooking. Now we're cooking.
yeah.
Be
You're
fun.
not lying, brother. You're not lying.
Yeah.
Trying to think, man. Is there
Um,
anything else, man, that we could hit on? I don't.
I'm feeling good, Laro. I'm feeling
Yeah,
pretty good. It's
me
nice,
too.
as I said, the ultimate trajectory of the team has not changed for this
Yeah,
season, but it's nice to have some good basketball and to watch some young guys improve, especially young guys that I think you and I have been much more patient with and much
yeah,
more encouraged by than I think the general fan base at times. I know you
yeah,
and I with Pat especially, but with Kobe, like we were both saying before last year, Kobe's going to have a good season. He's working on the defense. He's working on the ball handling. And, people were saying at the end of the season, like the numbers did not show it last
right.
season, but he was so much better. And
Yeah, it
people started to
was.
catch on. People started to catch on the last half of the year. And with Pat, it's like the beginning of the season, I was like, guys, I know it's been like 10 games and Pat can't make a shot, but his defense has been on point.
Yeah,
He's doing everything. The only thing that's not happening right now is the shooting. He's just super cold stretch. Now he's back up to 38% from three,
yep.
and he's dunking all over people. So it's really nice. It's just really nice to see that. Patience pays off, but it's about process over results.
Yeah,
And if you focus on the right process, you're not going to be way off most of the time. Like sometimes you're going to be off. Like you're not going to project something that you should have projected. But I think hopefully people see like we're not here for hot takes. Like we really believe in the things that we say about players, and they come from a place not of necessarily bias. Like all of us are biased inherently in some ways, but of trying to base it in basketball and actual things that we see in film and in the stats. and not just vibes or reactionary stuff. And I don't know, it's been really refreshing. Just nice to see these guys succeed. And man, it'd be so awesome if Lonzo came back. I would be so stoked to see Lonzo come back. But I know it's a big dream. It's a big dream.
Yep.
So I think that's it, man. Unless you got something else that you want to get off your chest.
No, man, I'm all good, man. I'm ready to hit the hay.
Yes, sir. And I think what we're gonna do is probably not gonna have an episode next week at all because of the holidays.
Yeah.
But might hit us, might get something in before New Year's, but probably after New Year's and before the January 15th second kind of trade marker hits. We're gonna be back, and we'll see what the Bulls do these next couple weeks. So the Bulls have their schedule. Let's see. Let me pull up their schedule. What do they got from now until we come back? So they have the Lakers on Wednesday. This is a 6-game home stretch. Lakers on Wednesday, and then the Spurs on Thursday, the Cavs on Saturday, the Hawks on Tuesday, Pacers on Thursday, and then the Sixers again on December 30th. So that takes us through the new year. I think they can be pretty competitive. I think Philadelphia is probably going to be pretty pissed at them.
Yep.
For winning tonight. But I mean, they could go 4-2 or 5-1, and I wouldn't be surprised, which is crazy to think about.
Yes. Yes.
Crazy to think about.
You are not lying about that, man. The switch that they hit. They hit a switch, man. So no, you're right, man. I agree. I think the only one I can, not the only one, but the one that I think that they could lose is all of them, but the most likely one is the 76ers. I can't see Joel and Maxey and the boys. Toby, I think, only had 3 shots. So I can't see that happening.
Pat shut him down.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just messing.
Couldn't
even take a shot.
Hey, man. So I don't know. Who knows, man? They may surprise us, man. Maybe they're I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna do any hypotheticals. We'll see. I mean, they've done a good job of competing and not just against the top level teams. They've done a good job of beating the teams they probably should beat. So we'll see where it goes.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, I think the one loss that was really kind of ridiculous was Detroit.
Yeah.
Now I think about it. Back of their third game. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. No, but they've had some really quality wins. So, yeah, a lot to be excited about. Somehow did not think we'd be here through this brutal stretch of games that we'd be like most excited through this one. But yeah, this is where we are. Being a Bulls fan, man, it's never boring, that's for sure. So thank you guys for sticking with us. I can't believe we talked for an hour about this, man. I was like, we're gonna be like, Pat's good, Coby's good, DeMar's good, trade Zach, trade Caruso. Caruso's also good, and I thought we'd be done in 5 minutes, but able to do it again. So see you guys next week. Thanks for everything. Keep giving us feedback. We get occasional feedback that makes us feel appreciated. It feels like someone's listened. We love doing it, and we hope you guys learn something and get something out of it. So give us reviews on whatever platform you're on. Let us know in the comments, Twitter, what you're thinking, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.